Aloha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are, whatever time zone, whatever day and time you're watching this video, welcome to Talk Story with Jin. I'm so happy that you are here and so happy that you are most likely on my email list. My email list is really my ohana, and ohana in Hawaiian means family. And so if you're seeing this, you are important to me and we have connected in some way, and so I thank you for that. If you're seeing this because someone else has shared it with you, then be sure to sign up for my email list. You can do that on my website very easily, and I would love to connect with all of you. You can also do it if someone forwarded you the email by replying to the email, and I'll get you on the list. Thank you all for being here. I wanted to start by saying, this email video newsletter, which is kind of an odd thing if you think about it, but this video newsletter is called Talk Story with Jin because talk story in Hawaiian, not in Hawaiian language, but in Hawaiian culture means getting together and sharing stories with each other. Having conversations, maybe about your day, but more likely about your life. Those stories that you love to tell, sitting around, and it's always a two-way conversation, like everyone shares different stories, and they're often stories in which you get to learn a little something. And so that's what I want this to be. I don't want it just to be me giving information to you, but I want this to be a two-way street so we can share stories together. So welcome, and I'm excited to have everyone here and have you all join me in this conversation. The conversation we're going to be having over the next couple weeks is about knee health. And knee health is something I am super passionate about. I'm going to tell you why in just a second, but we already started that conversation about a week ago. Some of you all received an email and participated in this survey that I asked for you all to do. It was really simple. It was just 2 questions. The first was to tell me about how your knees feel. And I got some interesting responses. Of course, I put interesting answers because if you've been in my class or you know me, I'm kind of quirky and funny. So we had some interesting choices, but I'll read them out so you can see how people's knees are feeling. 40% of the people that responded said their knees felt ouchy. 35% said they felt crunchy. 25% said weak. 15% unstable. There were some more happy options, and some folks chose those. The one that was chosen the most, that was a more positive option, was that their knees felt reliable, and that was 30%, and that is great. I will say, as I see a lot of my clients and my students, a lot of people do have knee issues. For those of us that don't have knee issues, we should count ourselves lucky and really note from the fact that a lot of people are ending up with knee issues that we want to take a proactive approach and make sure that we understand how to give our knees some aloha or love and make sure that they're supported before the problems happen. It's way easier not to have to fix something than to wait for something to get messed up and have to fix it later. So if your knees are feeling good, I still want you to join in this conversation about our knee health, showing our knees some aloha. Now, for those of you who do have knee issues and who responded to the survey, I took a look at your other responses about your most pressing concerns. Some people said it was about their knees wearing out. Some people, said it was about them being weak. And I'm looking at all that, but I want to hear more from you guys. And at the end of the video, I'll encourage you to do that as well. But we're going to be sharing these stories, and I want to hear, what's going on with your knees, because that really helps to inform me in my teaching and helps me to help you help yourself show your knees some aloha. Now, I'm really passionate about my knees because, believe it or not, I had knee problems for over 10 years. Many of you know this because this is a very intimate email list and group of people. Many of you know this. I was a gymnast for 14 years. I started gymnastics when I was 2 years old, and I did gymnastics until I was 16. And I was very sad when I had to quit gymnastics. And the reason that I had to quit gymnastics was because I wore out my right knee and it would not allow me to do gymnastics on it anymore. I did gymnastics all that time. I competed on a national level at the end. I wasn't Olympic level, but a couple levels below that, but I did compete on a national level, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I had so much fun. I was not, however, a sort of classic gymnast. Things didn't come easily to me. I muscled everything. Just by brute force, I would do my tricks, and I often didn't have the best form. I had flat feet and my toes didn't point, which in gymnastics is a big deal. When I was a kid and competing, I thought it was more of an aesthetic thing. Like, it looks pretty when you point your toes, so you're supposed to point your toes. Now that I am teaching yoga and I've gone through this knee rehabilitation system myself, I realized that actually by having flat feet, that was contributing to my knee problems. And that's something we're going to talk about in this conversation over the next few weeks. And so basically, I had a lot of fun, but I wore out my right knee and I had to quit gymnastics. Now, when I had to quit, I had a friend, he was a father of one of the other gymnasts who was an orthopedic surgeon. And he took a look at my knee and he told me not to ever have surgery, that whatever anybody was going to tell me the surgery could fix, it wasn't fixable, and that my knee was going to hurt for the rest of my life. And it was kind of something that I would just have to deal with. And so for my late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, that was reality for me. My knee hurt every day. If I try not to do anything on it, I certainly didn't go hiking, I didn't run, I didn't do any of those things, no jumping, none of that. If I did anything, if I went for a little hike, then in the evening my knee would be like in so much pain. When I would lay down and go to bed, it would be just absolutely awful. But even when I didn't do those things, my knee was still stiff and tight, and I was just constantly aware of it. And I thought this was just something I was going to deal with for the rest of my life. Looking back now, I see how that affected me. It really adds to your stress level when you've got physical pains in your body. And so being able to alleviate those is really important, not just on a physical level, but on a level of functioning in your life. When we don't feel good physically, it's hard for us to be happy, have fun, and get our work done, even on a more, mental, emotional, spiritual level. And so taking care of ourselves physically is really important. And so I was just dealing with that until I went to my first yoga teacher training. And my teacher asked me to do something, and I said something like, oh, I can't do that pose. It doesn't work for my knee. I have a really bad knee. And her comment was, well, of course you have bad knees. Your feet are really flat. You should do something about that. And I thought, what in the world? Like, that's just how I was made. Like, I didn't know you could do anything about that. And she said, yes, actually you can. And so she taught me what to do, and I implemented it. And that's what I'm going to share with you over the next few weeks. I'll give you a teeny tiny piece of it now because I think it's so fascinating. Our knee health, and there's a lot more to it that we're going to go over the next few weeks, but our knee health is really tied not just into our knees, but into other parts of our body, because everything is connected and everything influences the other. And so one of those big pieces that we're going to go over is the fact that the arches in your feet are really, really important for the health of your knees and how your arches are functioning. And so a lot of what I learned was how to get the arches in my feet there and how to get them functioning better. And if you think about bridges, a lot of times bridges have arches underneath, right? And the arches are what allows the bridge to absorb shock. We actually have a few different curves or arches in our body. Our spine has curves, and the reason our spine has curves is because it helps us support weight and absorb shock. But we've got those arches in our feet, and they're meant to do the same thing. And for a lot of us, even if we have arches, they're not functioning the way they're supposed to be. We're not allowing them to function the way they're supposed to be. And that's something we're going to go over here in the next few weeks. So I'm excited to share all that with you. But for now, I would love to hear from you all. So if you have a story, because a lot of people have stories about what has happened to their knees, there might have been one moment that instigated the issues with their knees. And so if you've got a story about that, please reply to me in email. That's a great way to do it. Or you can go on Facebook, facebook.com/yogawithjin, make a little post on my page and share your knee story with me so I can see what's going on with everyone. Now, you might be having questions and you might be thinking that this isn't going to work for me. And I want to say that the things I'm going to share will work for, I believe, all knee issues. And you'll see what I mean as we start to get into it. I cannot fix your knees. Just like my friend Dr. Tom, the orthopedic surgeon, told me nothing was going to fix the problem in my knee. The problem in my knee still exists. But what I've been able to do is to support my knee and show it as much aloha as possible. And by doing that, I have not had knee pain in 8 or 9 years. So please join me for the rest of this conversation. We'll have another video in a day or two. Stay tuned on the email list. If you're watching this video on Facebook, there will probably be a link in the description so that you can sign up for my email list. Please get on the email list, that way you don't miss anything. I try to post it in other places too, but the email list is where you can make sure that you get it right there to your inbox and make sure that you don't miss anything. So please share your stories with me. And also, if you have any questions about your knees and whether this is going to work for you, please put those questions in and I will address those questions in the next video. All right, for now, I will say aloha and namaste.